If you're a high school basketball player that's playing on an AAU team this summer, this is the third episode in a series where I'm sharing the skills that you should be showing off in your AAU games. Now, in the past couple of weeks, we've talked about showing off your positive energy on the court. We've talked about showing off your control on the court. And today, we're going to share another skill that's really critical to earning playing time at every level of basketball. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Hard Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. So I've been talking about skills that you should be showing off during your AAU games. Now, this doesn't matter why you're playing AAU. It could be that you are looking for exposure and you are trying to get recruited to the next level. It could be that you are just trying to improve your game and get ready for next high school season, or you could just be having fun. But all these skills we're talking about, you should still be showing off in your AAU games because you can make them habits that will help you throughout your entire basketball career. Now, I've also been giving you some insight into what the college coaches are thinking as they're evaluating players on the floor. Okay, I was one of these coaches, so I know the questions that are going through their minds. And each week during the series, I've been kind of sharing what's the question in their mind that is relevant to the skill that we're talking about. Okay, and today's no different. One of the biggest questions that a recruiting coach, a college coach, will be thinking is, who can that player guard? Can they guard players in our league, at our level? Are they going to be a defensive liability that we just can't get on the floor, so why would we recruit them? Or are they going to be an asset on defense? Are they going to contribute to our defensive scheme that we're playing in? And really that comes down to your on-ball defense. Okay, so today we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can show off your on-ball defense in your AAU games. Now, before I get into those 3 ways that you can show off your on-ball defense, I want to make sure, if you haven't already downloaded the 8 intangible skills that coaches love to see in players, be sure and download the checklist I make available. So it's a checklist that also has some ways that you can utilize these skills both on and off the court and become one of those players that coaches love. I put a link in the description below, but you can also simply go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles, and I'll be sure and get you that free gift. So 3 ways that you can show off your on-ball defense. Number 1, and this is the price of admission for playing defense, and far too few players do it, especially in AAU games. Get in a stance and stay there throughout the defensive possession. Okay? The beauty is we're in summer. Okay? You're playing AAU, and yeah, I know you want to show off your offensive skills, and you think that spectacular plays are what these evaluating coaches are looking at. But remember, they're thinking, who can they guard? If you're not in a stance, if you can't, I'll say this, if you cannot stay in a stance physically for 30 seconds at a time, it's summer. Start working on your stance work. Get in a stance during your workouts and stay there. Condition your body to be ready to be in a stance, and then get in a habit of, on every defensive possession, getting in a stance, sitting in that chair, being wide, being athletic, being ready to defend at all times on the defensive end, And that's the first thing that tells these evaluating coaches, yeah, they can play defense. And far too few players are always in a stance, especially during AAU games. The second thing you can do to show off your on-ball defense is close out under control, okay? I know, you want to stop the shot. You want to make a spectacular block, whatever the case might be. But you need to close out in a fashion that you can, one, stop a shot or influence a shot, bother a shot, but you can also guard against a drive either right or left. So in doing so, you need to close out under control. You need to start, depending on how far away you are from the player you're guarding, you need to start on a quick sprint, but quickly break down choppy steps to get to them quickly, but under control. You want to close out, not sell out. You don't want to fly by and all of a sudden they're driving to the hoop. You don't want to close out too slow and they have a wide open shot, okay? If you are not in control and quick on your closeouts, another thing that during your summer workouts you need to be working on. If you're not putting in some closeouts to a cone, to a other player, if you're not working on your body to get you in the condition and the habit of having under control closeouts, it's another thing you need to do in order to show off how good you are on on-ball defense. And the third thing, another thing that you can work on this summer is how is your lateral quickness? How quick are you side to side? Because let's face it, in AAU, you're not with a team long enough to have a lot of help defense, right? Because teams aren't together to have great, not all teams. Some teams are, but not all teams have these intricate team-based defenses where people are concentrating on helping. So you're kind of on an island a lot, right? You're kind of playing one-on-one defense. And so you can either stand out for the wrong reasons, which is letting players go right by you, or you can stand out for the right reasons where, man, that player can play defense. They're in a stance, they're laterally quick. Every time they need to close out, they're under control. So I want you to show off your lateral quickness to these coaches. I want you to get in a habit of being laterally quick. Now, maybe you're not the quickest player on the court. Well, then it's summertime. I know in your workouts, your conditioning workouts, you're probably doing a lot of forward and back running, right? Put in some lateral work. Work on your body laterally. Become quicker laterally, because that's another way that you can show off your on-ball defense. Now, if these coaches are evaluating players and they see a player that's always in a stance, closes out in control, stops shots, stops drives, influences the offensive player, and is laterally quick, don't you think that they're going to say, wow, that's a player that we need on our team, because they're not going to be a defensive liability other than this other player that maybe is gifted offensively, but man, sometimes they're in a stance. They're letting players go right by them. They're selling out on their closeouts and just leaping in the air and flying right by and letting the offensive player do whatever they want. So be that player that shows off your on-ball defense, and you will stand out both in your AAU season, next season, and throughout your basketball career. Love the likes, love the comments. If this is helpful to you, please leave a comment below. And until next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. See you next week.